Welcome to my audience on Dominus Nisi on 88.9 FM. As I promised last week, today we have another wonderful guest talking about what's happening next week on this Wyndham Council. Yes, we are excited to have our WYNnovation 2026, and we have a wonderful guest, our major sponsor for WYNnovation. So let's welcome this wonderful guest and let me allow him to introduce to the whole audience of 88.9 FM. Welcome to our show. Can you please introduce who you are and where you are coming from?
Yeah, thanks for introducing me and allowing me to be here. My name's Wayne Butson. I'm the TAFE CEO from Victoria University.
Yes, we know that Victoria University is helping a lot for our council and then doing major events and sponsoring and even allowing to do activities in the Victorian campus. And I would be I need to really be grateful and acknowledge that this wonderful radio station is also in the Victoria University precinct and then helping the community to grow in multicultural mindset and then collaborating between the people. So thank you so much for the
Thank you.
university allowing us to do this and helping us to, be a better group. So I really want to go through different things or what are the different actions that university is offering for the community and then how we can involve thoroughly or getting benefited from that. Before that, I would like to check with you personally, what is your inspiration or passion to work in your education industry? I know that you have different skill set. You're a trailblazer and doing different things related to industry as well. But why did you pick up education?
I think my interest stemmed from like a lot of our students. So I'm Western suburbs born and bred, and first in family to attend university. So firsthand, I've seen what a difference education makes, what the difference additional qualifications make. So I benefited from that, from going to the old entities of VU back in the day. I had a career in local government in the West also, out in Melton, running youth and community services. So when the opportunity came up way back in 1992, I started actually teaching on this campus in Werribee in community services. So I've been fortunate to have that background where I've actually seen that stuff in practice because, education is such an important thing. It gives people that opportunity to follow their career aspirations. But also we're seeing more recently that opportunity for people to retrain. So a hell of a lot of people doing a lot of jobs and thinking some things that they might have dreamt about weren't available, and they've started to become available because people can do all these wonderful pathways or uplifts their skills and then gets them into those undergraduate programs. So that sort of inspires me every day. So, I've been really, lucky to be able to have this career and work at the university for so long and see how much it's grown in collaboration with the community.
Yeah, well, I'm thinking about my early a graduate time back in India because there is only one option. You go to a uni, get a course, that's your life. You can't really even change your career or go through any pathways. And seeing all different ways that TAFE and universities are helping us and then changing your career or classes and courses according to your current need and the passion. It's amazing
Yeah.
how much collaboration that's happening. And I love the way that the system is connecting to your passion, not through that, maybe an unfortunate decision making happen at some point. You are not stuck there. You are
Mm.
helping people to change
Yeah.
and move and
Yeah.
come back to their dream.
Yeah.
So it's amazing that all the universities are doing. But coming back to that TAFE, we know that university is there and then different way of educating, doing different things. But what do you think that what's the difference or what will be the priority or importance of this TAFE compared to the university?
Uh, I think the real importance is that initial opportunity.
Mm.
So in our TAFE programs, we run everything from those early level
Yeah.
English classes
Hmm.
all the way through Cert 4s and diplomas, and advanced diplomas, and then diplomas in the HE space.
Hmm.
So we've been really big that whatever campus we're on, we try and reflect those needs. So there's a big English cohort of students back out here at Werribee. We find that a lot of them want to go into work in early childhood or allied health.
Yeah.
So we've run those courses here too. And then the other big part of that is movement into construction and industry jobs. So our real focus in the TAFE part of the university is that we TAFE's a bit different than university. About 79% of the students come from the local environment.
Yeah.
So from that local community. So you've always got to run things that there's those job opportunities. So Wyndham being the way it is, there's such a growth in early childhood facilities. There's then the growth at the other end in aged care and allied health.
Yeah.
We've got all our partners along this road in Mercy Health and everything that have job shortage needs. So it's really important that we skill our jobs around those emerging needs and we work with our partners in the community. So community partners and industry to meet that needs. The big thing we're working on at the moment, because there's such a splurge in cybersecurity, IT-related jobs, and our data center-based stuff, that we're working really hard with our partners at Microsoft, Cisco, and Stack to develop those level courses. Because when we've looked at the demographics and the data, it's been really interesting that there's an above-average proportion of people from Point Cook that have IT qualifications and work in IT. So then we're thinking, well, how do we scale up and support industry in developing these sort of things so people can work and live in Wyndham? But at trick with all that, and you mentioned WYNnovation, like we've been involved in WYNnovation since it started in 2018 because it gives us one of those opportunities to connect and work with industry and community and council to understand. And we've quickly learned over the years that none of what we aspire to do we can do alone. We have to have those partners. A good example on this campus is Headspace. And that, so, inviting them in on our buildings on campus gives us research, intern opportunities and placements for our students, but we're also gearing up and running more programs in that mental health because it's a real need in that community. So to be able to get them on board, and we've done that on every campus. Sunshine, we've got Ambulance Victoria, runs a working ambulance service on there. We're building the Centre for Paramedicine on that campus to hopefully be open next year. So it's important for us. Like you can't just run training and hope people come or run the courses that we think. All our courses have to be, driving to people because our success is really about that employability of our students. And so there's a lot that goes into that. So it's the course design with our partners. It's making sure we're running things that people want. It's no good us running courses there that no one really wants to do. And that's always a challenge in universities when you've got multiple campuses and you're running TAFE and HE about what is the most viable course to run, because we're trying to balance things up like every other business. And that visible stuff. So, 37 courses, 1,700 students on this campus. It's interesting that it's only about 700 of them locals. So we've got another 1,000 people come from other people that come here because of those courses. And then in our other courses that we run on other campuses, we've got about another 1,600 people from Werribee going to do those courses. So it's an interesting mix about what people want. And a lot of those are undergraduate courses because we don't necessarily run them here, but we'll run the early courses that allow them to get in the undergraduate programs. And most of our TAFE courses, our diploma-based level, equivalent to the first year of our undergraduate programs. So if our, local people don't get the ATAR score, don't get into their dream undergraduate program, you do a relevant TAFE program, you jump in the second year, you join that same cohort, so they haven't added to your program, you probably actually save money because it's cheaper to do a free TAFE course.
Exactly. It's like it's the amazing opportunity.
The performance of those students since we've been measuring it is their grade point average is better in second and third year than those students that started in first year. So that's really important. And I don't think people know that enough because people often think, I haven't got my ATAR. Maybe I can't really do that course. Maybe if I get in, I'll struggle. I actually find that with that supported training at vocational level, they thrive. They do
Yeah,
really well.
it's amazing because I do have 20-year-old son and 13-year twin boys, and then being migrant, especially from India, education is really important. And we always say that, oh, you need to study hard.
Yep.
ETAR is your
Yep.
all. You need to do this and that. But people like you motivating us saying that ETAR, yes, it's important, but again, if you miss the opportunity, you have a pathway, and then there are obviously like wonderful pathways happening here.
Yeah. Yeah.
And can you share us more about like a Wyndham Council? And then you mentioned there are 18 specific courses that you are running here, looking at our like I would say that you have done real good analysis of what is the locals' interest and where are they coming from. And so I like the idea that the Sunshine Hospital is doing Ambulance Victoria one, and then here you are doing more of like aged care and the early childhood. So can you share a bit more like in other areas of TAFE courses that you are running here in Wyndham?
The biggest thing. So we've just started doing cybersecurity on this
Oh, okay.
campus. We're just launched in partnership with Microsoft
Hmm.
our data center academy at
Oh,
Footscray.
yeah.
But the plans for that is we're seeking resources and support for government to build a
Data centers around.
data center training center on
Oh,
campus
okay.
here
Yeah.
to try and get ahead of that wave.
Mm.
Federal government's all over the data centers, supportive of it, and so
Yes.
it's the state government.
Yes.
So there's
The
emerging employment
connection.
opportunities, and it's interesting that they they're already building, they're operating, and they're really interested in a different skill set. So we've actually worked with them to design the curriculum. So we wrote
Mm.
it in conjunction
Yep.
with Microsoft. So
Hmm.
it's brand new
Brand
thing
new
that
things
we want to do,
coming
and
up.
we think that's the future.
Mm.
Wyndham's interesting. It's we've got to be as aspirational as the community is to what
Really.
people want to train, but what is the new clean based energy
Mm.
that we can help encourage to build here, and
Yeah.
following what we know from the demographics about what sort of
Makes
courses people are interested in.
mm.
But it's interesting, getting back to those other points that choices people make, because we had lots of examples when we first started the cybersecurity
Hmm.
course, and we grew from really small numbers to really big numbers really
Hmm.
quickly.
Yeah.
And some of it was based on people that always wanted to do it. So I've got some examples of students that have done really well at a course.
Mm.
So I had this woman come to us. She'd always run a dog grooming
Hmm.
business. She always thought about working in the IT industry, but never really knew how to go about it.
Uh-huh.
So when she found out about our cybersecurity course, she not only undertook it, she then applied for an internship with the
Hmm.
government department that commenced their own
Uh-huh.
cybersecurity program. Within 3 months in the job, she spotted a major security breach on a government thing.
Mm.
The supervisor said, "Oh, your training and
Mm.
your skills are really good. We'll let you work." She
Work with them.
saved multi-millions of dollars for
Wow.
Australian taxpayer in the government that afternoon. So
Amazing.
that person wouldn't be working in that area
Yeah, if you
if
are
they
not
didn't see the
offering.
opportunity,
Correct.
doing a free TAFE course, taking the jump, trying it.
Hmm.
Now she's supervising other students that they're recruiting
Yeah.
that are ours.
Correct. So I was like, thinking about like in a couple of friends were telling that NAB and NZ, all these bank actually making lots of people redundant in a bunch. And then you heard what happened at NAB
Yep.
jumping down with that 25-year-old person. So those type of people, I was thinking it's not just initial. If you are in IT, I think it's a good idea to come and learn new skills like cyber and all other bits.
Yep.
I could see that lots of data centers are coming up in the West, and the Farmers
Yeah,
Road
they
is
are.
all
Yep.
all data centers. So I think amazingly the Chief TAFE officer here with us as part of our innovation that's happening on next Thursday. So he is sharing the wonderful opportunities that the Victoria TAFE is offering for, especially for Wyndham Council resident and all other people around our council, but at the same time offering that placement and then local job opportunities as part of following this training. So if you are thinking that you are stuck and then you do not know what to do, it is the right time to connect with the TAFE Victoria University and then see be, but can be the pathways that you can pick up and then enjoy your life with a wonderful local life and getting new knowledge. I'm actually going to ask him another some more questions so then you will understand how good is this and then how you can get involved and utilize this type of education. So you mentioned that the education to all background is really important, and especially the disadvantaged families and the people who come in from migrant and refugees area. And then I know that you are really working well with those type of communities and partnering with. And you mentioned that you're partnering with the HKs as well. So that's an amazing way of collaborating with the community. So I just want to share, check with you, what will be some of the barriers that students face when they pursue their education and how you can help them?
A lot of it we find that
Mm,
inspiration, so
mm,
not understanding what they could do. So a good example, I suppose, is our tech school, which
mm,
is next door. So they work with over 24,000
yeah,
young people coming from all the secondary schools.
yeah.
When they first started running a few years ago, there were very few young women coming to do those STEM-based training.
Mm,
Over the last few years, we've seen that up to 50% of all the
mm,
students come through. So now there's a bunch of young women knowing that they can work in the tech industry that didn't even think that was an option beforehand
mm,
because they hadn't had any exposure to it. They
mm,
didn't see what working in tech,
yeah,
working in new emerging industries was all about and
yeah.
didn't know where they fit. So that's one thing. In terms of, the multicultural community, last time I looked, we had 90 different cultures represented in our student body.
Mm-hmm.
So I think because we've been based in the West for 110 years, we've changed and adapted to how those communities have adapted. And interesting in our graduation ceremony, our chancellor always, because when you look through the room, you can see all the graduating students and all the different places they come
Places,
from.
yeah.
Many wear their custom dresses
Yes.
from their own cultures. And so he'll often ask at a ceremony, he goes, well, how many people speak more than one
One
language at
language.
home? How many
Yeah.
people speak three? How many
Yeah.
people speak four? Then you can see around the room people with pride put up their hands, and you can see that we actually
Diverse.
do really well with that cultural mix and diversity.
Mm,
And the students don't really realise until they see it in that setting and look the diverse amount. And but those things take a lot of work, and it
mm,
really is those suite of courses. So that's the beauty of a dual sector
mm,
university. It's having those lower level things, engaging with people when they're newly arrived
mm-hmm.
in the English programs,
Yeah.
them being exposed on campus, seeing the students come for other things,
Mm-hmm.
knowing that those courses there, all of a sudden they're exposed. Oh, I'm not finished this
Yeah.
course. I
I
might
can
be
do
able
the
to
other
do
one.
that course.
Yeah.
So I think that's really important that those mix. And that's the same in a graduation ceremony. So we have our kids from work ed, transition eds,
Mm-hmm.
our certificate and diploma, still go to graduation ceremony with people getting their PhD and undergraduate.
Undergraduate.
So you can see them looking and thinking, I might come back. And I've
Yes.
been lucky that I've worked there for that long, that I actually see families at graduation that are ex-students of ours, and
Coming
their
again.
children are graduated on that day.
Yeah,
And
that's amazing.
those people talk about the inspiration that their parents had as newly arrived
Yeah.
immigrants, kicking through the barriers, leaning back in the wheel, retraining, even though they might have had qualifications in their own country.
Yeah.
And so they're inspiring their own young people, and they're seeing the opportunities of doing it through different ways that for you. So
Yes, I would say the TAFE is just a gateway to do your PhD or the higher rate, and then having that graduation ceremony in the same university. And it's 110 years of experience in the education sector. I'm so impressed with that, that continuous improvement that university and then all the whole team is actually working together to make it like, useful for the diverse community.
uh,
And that's what, yeah.
yeah, the community should be proud. We're the fastest growing university in the country. So we
Oh.
often think western suburbs, small name. We're not a sandstone. We're not Melbourne. We're not Latrobe. We're not Monash, but we're the fastest growing. And we've got more numbers now than we've ever had. Over
Oh,
50,000 students last year,
mm,
biggest numbers in
yeah,
TAFE. So I think that's a bit of reflection of the growth in the
good.
West.
Yep.
But also, I think we're getting that mix right about what sort of courses and
Yeah.
things that the community want to follow.
Yeah, I do reflect one of my friend. She was a mature age student. She wanted to become a teacher. She did masters in Victoria teaching, and she is a teacher and serving our local community.
Yep.
And if I think the same scenario back in India, we can't never do that.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
that's the different. And I do remember that for mature age, they were giving extra coaching and special training, and then even in the writing, academic writing style, everything
Yep.
they do have their own different
Yeah.
LSAs and then helping them to grow into
Yeah.
and then coming into that Australian standard. So it's amazing to see how like all different things are going and coming together. So I just want to check with you about the industry that you're connected closely. And then you mentioned Microsoft, Cisco, and data center, that type of thing. What are the other industries that you connected and then giving this TAFE?
It's really across all disciplines. So,
Oh,
in with paramedicine and nursing, we're
yeah.
connected to Ambulance Victoria
Mm,
that actually share our sun and sunshine. Um, you know, in hospitality,
mm,
we have a number of partners with Western Region Tourism, and we
mm,
do a lot of research about them about coming out of COVID,
mm,
coming out of the fires. So it's that research connection too,
mm,
which I probably haven't mentioned. Even everything like our construction, so our plumbing,
mhm.
and our electrician and all our modern manufacturing, we realise we have to inform how we structure up our
Mm,
facilities
yeah.
and the course, and so we have to have input by industry
Ah, okay.
because remember that my first focus is said we see our success as employability of our staff.
Yes.
So if we haven't got modern input from
Mm,
industry in our courses, so it goes right across the board
okay.
in all those
Mm, those
industry areas.
industries.
Yeah,
Yeah.
early childhood, it's all through those connections. We've
Mm,
been, one of the things because we've been running early childhood so long out here, a number of people that have graduated from those courses
hmm.
have worked in the local early childhood facilities, and a lot of them come back and then teach for us. So you're keeping that ongoing
Oh,
connection
okay. Yeah.
and build, and our reputation in that sort of builds that ability to find placements
Hmm.
for students in those,
No,
to
okay.
do more hands-on support of those students to help
Mm,
local governments. Like we've just done a project in Melton with First Nation kids in early childhood,
hmm.
non-school connectors. We run a program, organised feeding them in the morning, hygiene products,
Hmm.
help them with their interviews and close for the interview. They're all now employed in local government, that
Oh,
group.
okay.
So it's,
It's like that cycle
yeah, so
you're
industry
making
is not
that.
just
Yeah.
industry, but us sometimes that industry is
Mm,
community
community.
services
Yeah.
or local council. Yeah.
That's great. I think that's the power of that, that dual education sector
Yep.
that you're offering, like a TAFE plus the other university.
Yep.
So
The undergraduate.
you're opening up that TAFE there and then going to that undergrad. And once they have their own wings, they come back with PhD or
Yeah. Yeah.
whatever the
Yeah.
other things. Yeah, that's an
Workforce.
amazing way of connecting that dual sector. And if you think that you're worried about your kids' education, their ATAR, and then you are actually, worried and your mental health is not that great, I would really love you to check what are the pathways available. I know the people who skipped year 12 and now teaching in the school because of these type of pathways happening. I'm not encouraging you or your kids to skip the school or not having the marks. I always aim and push even my kids to have that best ability of their own. It's not that competition of other between other people. It's more of like competition on yourself and your own abilities. But if any unfortunate situation in life happens, you are not really stopping that. That's where this wonderful TAFE opportunity and then undergrad opportunities are coming up. And you may be thinking why I'm telling this again and again, because if you think that you and your family or friends or community, and especially the migrant community, is stuck with anything, you need to come to our innovation on Thursday. And then let's see what are the things that over there. Because this year we have a great model or great theme for our TAFE and I mean in our innovation. And I just want to check with the Victorian University's mindset and connection between innovation and how they are going to help our future innovators. So my question is again connected with our innovation what is your expectation from our this year of innovation? Because I know that you have learned a lot. You were supporting from the day one, different themes coming up every year, and then you will connect with the different people. So what is your sort of like expectation for this year?
I think just the title of this year sort of is right on point. It
Yeah,
says it sort of indicates that we've actually got all the skills and expertise in
yeah,
this community with all the partnerships between
mm,
community, government,
yeah,
educators, including the Gordon that work here and
mm-hmm,
work collaboratively with us to actually start and build on those things that we need done.
yeah,
And it's that joint voice about
yeah,
what resources, what support. Because it's amazing, like, you've said earlier, you weren't aware of a lot of the stuff that we do,
yeah,
and we do the same when we have these innovation and other council events that you meet people and you're not sure what they're doing with business. And until you make that connection and understand that there's always a solution or something you can do to help them. Whether that's our research people too, we do a
mm-hmm,
lot of work at the moment, and we just laid a new compound a road for City West Water at
mm,
their facility. I'm trying to, use our research and expertise on how you can lay cheaper roads that last longer using recycled materials. So
mm,
that's a great thing for
good.
some of those companies that are working in that
That,
building and construction. But there's all these other opportunities you don't know about until you have these really great events where
mm,
you can get together, make those connections, hopefully follow up from that and
mm,
get to know.
yeah,
I think that's a really thing. Collaboration
mm-hmm,
and councils' ability to run WYNnovation and the
yeah,
other award stuff and that is really important. And
mm-hmm,
so we've always been really happy to be associated with it and sponsor them
mm-hmm.
because we see the great benefits we all get out of it.
Yeah, you mentioned about that innovation and research that Victoria University is doing and explained about that road and then you're doing that recycling. So how we can get or give the feedback back to the university or what will be the opportunities to come and do a bit of like a research in our university?
Well, it's really through those connections. I mean,
Mm-hmm,
the other thing we did that all the tunnel manufacture, the
mm-hmm.
research for those tunnel design and the fireproofing was all done here in our backyard at Wyndham. So
Oh,
we've got the biggest kiln in the world that tests all that concrete, which is just right next door to you.
wow.
So there's things here that's always hard to get out about
Mm,
that ability. So I think, it's really about listening and that opportunity. So it
mm.
can be big scale like that, but I think even those stories are inspirational for young people. It's a
It
bit like
is.
the zoo here,
Yeah.
like, and the law courts. There's fantastic new stuff in Wyndham that
Mm-hmm,
everyone's got to know. So it's not just telling our story amongst ourselves, it's telling the rest of the world. I reckon
mm,
our biggest challenge is not just having people want to come here to live, but
mm.
businesses wanting to come and set up
Yeah.
and people
Yeah.
wanting to put in and make those connections with us to get that research and that to
Mm-hmm.
happen and that development. I think they're the big
Yeah.
things we'd like to
So
see.
I think, I'm not sure whether that I can mention this out loud in in the radio like this, but when I go to the network events, I go to the other side of the city, and then the first question, where you coming from? And I ask the same question, right?
Yeah,
And then will they, if I say that I'm from Hoppers, and everybody is like, oh, it's like they feel like we are from slum. So there is a mindset for other people that West Side is like all these migrants who can't really work hard or achieve higher. But hearing your stories that, we were part of the tunnel building, we were part of all this
yeah, yeah,
inspirational thing. We are helping them to this doing this data
yeah,
centers.
yeah.
Why these people are not like, knowing that? I think,
I mean, I'm Western suburbs born and bred,
yeah,
and there's always been that sense of you know, not being looked at
take
nicely
it.
because,
Yeah.
but I think that's part of us owning it and
Mm,
showing what we can do too. I
yeah.
mean, the West has really changed over
It
the
is.
110 years that the university's been here, and there's different parts of the West that have gentrified and changed, and there's the other growth areas that produce all these other opportunities to do
Yes.
things.
Yeah.
I think it is about being proud about where we are and the connections. When you think about it, the big players, the big employers in the West are the university. It
Yes.
is Western Health,
Yes.
the major infrastructure around
Yes.
new hospital developments, and it is the Western Bulldogs
Hmm?
Football Club. And
Did
so
you
I
hear
think
that? It's Western Bulldogs. You should be
playing
clapping
tonight,
them.
yeah, yeah.
Yes.
So I think you got to get behind that, all those connections. I think
Yes.
they're really important.
Mm.
It is that collaboration to tell our story better,
Mm.
to realise the challenge that we've got
Yes.
collectively, but be proud of what we actually have achieved.
Mm.
I mentioned the story of that young woman that come from dog
From the
grooming
dog
to
grooming
major.
to the.
That's what can happen. So
Mm.
there's a local person
Mm.
that's making big roads, and there's lots of other students. And we had our launch of our IT strategy, and we had all bunch of industry partners there. And some of the industry partners are students that come to us that did lower level courses, went through the tracks, and are
Mm.
now leading in that industry. And I'm talking short terms, like
Mm.
4, 5, 7 year
Yes.
periods. And they're given back
Yes. Yeah.
to build in the next course and that.
Yeah.
So they're the stories we just got to sell. Like, don't let other people
Mm.
determine what we look
What
like
you,
or what. So we
I
proud Westies.
I am so glad that I heard it from you, person like you, looking after the whole, execution of our university and education system. Because many times, even though I believe that, because I started my life here in 2000 in Werribee,
Yeah,
and I didn't like to go to the other side of the city. So
yeah,
I'm here in and I call Windham as my home. But
yeah,
when we hear these things, we don't have much areas to share. Okay, this is the good things coming up. Looking at all the issues that they putting that as a very high priority issues for Wyndham. It's so hard to win the
yeah,
war,
yeah, yeah,
to claim that yes, Wyndham is the best we doing something efficiently in a way to lead our next generation and keep them staying in the West itself,
yeah,
and
yeah.
then utilize their brain and their skills for the West side. It's a bit hard to win over the conversation, but I think looking at what the amazing thing that you are doing, I think it's more of like rather than talking, you are doing and showing that yes, it is possible. And then as a generation, we are embracing it. And then people from our area staying and connecting through the education and the opportunities and the pathways are opening.
Mm.
That's amazing way that showcasing that Wyndham is the best. And then we are doing our best thing to motivate our generation. So I want to ask another question. All these things are evolving, new things are coming up. What do you believe that most valuable things in the year ahead? What can be the most valuable things that you can provide to our generation?
Most bad. I think we have to keep innovating and work
Yeah,
with
more of
industry.
the
Yeah, more
skills.
the same. We learn all the time about, what skill shortages there are, what they need to. But part of the way we train and assess has got to adapt and change all the time too. And we're learning more than even in the technical courses, whether it's traditional trades base or even the new emerging IT and
Mm,
cyber. We've got to be teaching and assess and encourage people in the soft skills too,
yes.
because we're learning more that um, through all these people change careers and do different jobs, but the
Mm,
general skills about people being able to work together, communicate well, be
connect.
resilient,
Yeah.
is really important.
Yeah.
And I suppose some courses have gone too much down the technical side and not in that.
Mm,
But we've realised for people to be prepared, for young people to be prepared for these
mm,
jobs and be able to swap around, they
mm,
need those skill sets
yeah.
too. So that's really about how we design. So
Mm,
we've got to do more work in that. We're
yeah.
doing it, but I think we've got to shift, and that's dealing with some of that equity based stuff too. We've got
Ah,
to change the way we talk and way we assess, so everyone feels they're included. We've been done a lot of work with women in trades,
mm-hmm.
and changing that perception. We've got more young women in our trade courses and
Mm,
perhaps than we've ever had before.
yeah.
They're legit options. You can't fill these skill shortages unless you've got everyone in the
Yeah.
population able to do those jobs. So I
True.
think that's our big challenge, to
Mm,
make sure we've got that, address that equity base.
mm-hmm.
Protected country is a really big thing for us. whatever we're doing, there's so much to learn from our First Nations
Mm,
people about how to protect country, how to look after things, how to communicate. I think they're the next
mm,
wave. We've done a lot of tree planting on this campus. I think that's really important
yeah,
that we help Council Green,
yes,
the municipality too. So
yeah.
yeah, it's lots of challenges.
Yeah, I'm actually picking that, you're trying to keep that women in trades because that's an amazing way of giving that empowerment to women. I'm like an advocate for women empowerment because the reason why we are really concentrating on that because you can see from Wyndham Council is the council that having high rate of family violence and then high rate of stepmother, stepfather relationship, and then the generation is a bit confused whether it's valued to be in a family or whether it's not at all a talking point to get married or
Yeah,
having
yeah,
kids. So you are actually making real impact, like giving that opportunity to women becoming prominent in all different trades. So it's not like only men can do the hard job, women will stay back in the behind the scene. It's not like that. You are giving that opportunity. So I feel like you are, indirectly and directly empowering women and empowering our next generation. So clearly, if you think that audience, okay, if you think that women needs more sessions or more active participations in trades, like how will be an opportunity for all migrant women can use all this plumbing job or trading job, then it will be easier. Back in India, we used to do all those things even though we didn't have
yeah,
any
yeah,
certification. Everybody, like, go back to your mother to look after whatever the hard things.
yeah.
So I can see that the participations in all different trade and women are coming up with the TAFE courses happening here. And maybe in near future, we can really dominate that
Yeah, yeah,
percentage
yeah.
between men and women. So thank you so much for that. Like, putting up all different small steps. And again, as you mentioned, making Windham green is another wonderful area, and connecting to that First Nation and giving that priority to them to protect this nation. So I believe that those type of mindset is really important for education system, because that's where we improving our core values, right? Because if we are not connecting with that core values, it is so hard for us to collaborate and then respect and then becoming a best version, because
Mm.
education at the end of the day making you the best version, and
Yeah,
then
it's gives them
yeah, and
immense
then you are
opportunities.
making all these things. So I just want to check with couple of questions. One is like this show that I am running is actually sharing the people who are actually spreading love, joy, and peace to the whole world. And then I can see that with your leadership, that TAFE is actually helping millions of people, because it's not just the person that studying in there. It's more of like their family, their community, and then whoever they're connecting is what the impact I can see. So you're spreading that wonderful values to those people, and I love the way that the people who were stopped their life somewhere, but you're giving that opportunity back come back on track. So I just want to check with you, what can be an advice that you can share to our audience about, how we can spread that love, joy, and peace through education, through whatever the life stream that you are in.
I think that's a really important thing to look at. I think that comes from that whole equity base,
Mm,
and respect. So we do a lot of that, in terms of, we review our practices and our structures. We do a lot of work measuring our, our gender gap
mhm,
and pay gap. We have a respect and equity task force where we try and break down and understand how treatment and language around women and its relationship with violence against women and we tackle that in some of our curriculum too. So when we're looking at OH&S units and that within the workforce, we tackle those things because we do see our responsibility for that within the community. As I said, we're a large employer, we're a large organisation with a lot of people go through the door. We've got that 110 years history in the region. We see ourselves as a part and responsible for the region. So yeah, and I hope that our practices and the way we treat our staff and treat our students and how they feel about the place sort of shows those principles and values that we have as a university. But they're the things you have to continually work and review and make sure we're listening to our students about how they feel. Safety is a big issue for us. Safe in our courses, safe getting to them from our campuses, and safe to be the best person they can be when they're within our courses. So I think that's a good approach that you're taking with your program too.
Thank you.
World's hard enough. All outside noise and things that happen without us thinking within our communities how we look after each other. I think that's an important
I love that you connected with respect, because I believe respect is the starting point for everything, right? So, and I think you actually got that as a wonderful point, that you always connect with the respect and then giving opportunity to equal opportunity to everyone. So it's an amazing way that Victoria University is helping the council. So I'm coming back to our innovation point. So you are hosting, or you are our major partner for council to run this innovation, and then you are giving. I heard that Victoria University giving opportunity to do the haircut over there, because you are making like different people coming there from your TAFE. And do you want to share a little bit of that activities that we can expect on that day?
Basically, it's a whole bunch of activation-based thing happening on campus and in the community that's just giving people access to see our students at work and our staff and start having those discussions. So like you said, it's everything from haircuts. We're actually at the moment modelling up a mobile truck that was a truck we got from a winery. So we'll be able to have it here on campus and up at Watton Street by the end of the year, actually giving haircuts.
Wow.
Doing barber into community, a big fully wrapped vehicle. But they're just those fun hands-on things to get people to come up and talk. So they really let people know what we do and the sort of range of things that we can. So there's a whole bunch of activities over the week. So people should have a look at the program. Don't be scared to come up to any of the staff there. Most of our staff are pretty wise to the other things that happen. So not just their area. If they can't answer your question, they'll take your number. They'll get someone to follow up from another area that might have the expertise there. So I just think it's for everyone. Be involved. Be actively involved. Ask questions. Don't go away from any of the WYNnovation events thinking you wish you should ask that. Make sure you ask it.
Okay, that's great. When you're there. So if a person listening to you now thinking that should I go to WYNnovation or not, what can be a reason for attending the WYNnovation?
You'll come away with somebody you haven't met before and someone you want to. You'll know more about your community and what's happening there, and you might be inspired. You might go away thinking, well, maybe I can do that course, or maybe I can go home all excited, talk to your children about different opportunities. Hopefully your young people at home have already heard about it, which is often the case. And you might come away with a new friend or a new connection or a new organisation that you want to join. Might be another community group there. I mean, it gives you that opportunity. It's one of those events you'll get out of it if you come. And if you open and talk, you'll get something out of it. If you
it's just like a starting point there, and then you make connections and then grow from there. Thank you. Thank you for coming to our studio and then sharing your wonderful things that you are doing for the whole world and especially for our Wyndham Council. And it's an eye-opener for me personally that it's amazing the 110 years of history here. And then we are here as a radio station as well. And then connecting a lot with the community and doing many things for the community. So thank you so much again. And then, yeah, we'd love to have collaboration in future and then see how we can help each other.
Yeah, that's great. Thanks for being part of the VU family by being on our premises. That's really
Thank
good.
you.
Thank you.
So that's an amazing conversation that I had is in relation to our innovation. But again, I was personally like, really touched that we are here in this radio only because of these wonderful people here in the Victoria University and TAFEs. So you are listening from our TAFE CEO, Victorian University, and then he will be, the in the important part of our innovation. That's happening on next Thursday. The doors will be opening at 10 a.m. and it will be finishing in the evening with some wonderful dinner. There are free tickets available, and at the same time, you can purchase tickets. And if you are local having a business, you need to mention that, and there is a promo code that you will be getting a better price. So, what we heard from our guest is that if you start coming on to that when innovation, it's just a starting point for your life, for your business, and for your family. And the most amazing thing that I need to pick up from today is that if you had a dream and then you couldn't do that, or you had to stop that dream for whatever reason, that's where you need to connect with the TAFE VU, because that is your gateway for your amazing opportunity. So thank you again for listening us. And this is Dominus Nisi and your host Bismi Paladi, sharing all wonderful things that spreading love, joy, and peace around the world. And I will come back with another wonderful guest next week. But before that, go to Innovation website and then see that Thursday is free for you, or if you can make arrangements and come and see us. We will be there from our WinFM studio. Our president Peter and Gary will be there in our caravan, and then we will be broadcasting live from the race course. And there will be guests, almost 8 to 10 guests already aligned for our radio interview from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. So if you want to see how this radio is working from a caravan and what are these wonderful people behind the scene are doing, and if you want to share what's you heard from innovation and what you want to know more about WinFM, come and connect with us. And I will be there along with our secretary, Deborah. So excited to see you on Thursday at Racecourse Club starting at 10 a.m. That's what WYNnovation 2026. So thank you again for joining us, and we'll see you on Thursday.
Yep, we'll do.
Thank you. So I will connect with you a bit more songs and then come back with some more announcement.